The next week, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about that thought. If something was being taken from people, it had to be going somewhere, and the only place it could be going was her. He began to pay closer attention, not just to the customers, but to Auntie Imani herself. She arrived earlier than everyone else. She left later than everyone else. And every evening, when the street grew quieter and the shops began to shut their metal doors, she packed her pot slowly, as if delaying something she did not want to face. One evening, Daniel stayed behind. He pretended to check messages on his phone while watching her from across the street. When she finally locked her stall and walked away, she didn't head toward the busy bus stop like most people did. She turned in the opposite direction, toward the older part of town. Daniel hesitated only for a moment before following. He kept his distance, walking slowly, pretending to admire shop windows and street signs. Auntie Imani moved with purpose, her steps steady but heavy, like someone carrying an invisible weight. They passed abandoned buildings, cracked sidewalks, and flickering streetlights. This part of town had once been lively, but now it felt forgotten. She stopped in front of an old community center. The building looked empty, its paint peeling, its windows dusty. A sign hung crooked above the door, barely readable. Auntie Imani unlocked the door and went inside. Daniel stopped across the street. He didn't know what he expected to hear. Cooking sounds, music, silence. Instead, he heard crying. Not loud, not dramatic. Low, controlled, heavy. The kind of crying that came from someone who had learned to cry quietly because no one was supposed to hear. Daniel's stomach tightened. He stepped back, heart pounding, and walked away before his curiosity pushed him too far. That night, sleep did not come. The next day, Daniel returned to Market Street like nothing had happened. Auntie Imani was there, serving food as always. She looked the same, but now Daniel knew better. By the end of the week, the town experienced its third incident. This time, it was a man named Peter Langley, a security guard who worked night shifts at a bank. He was known for being calm and reserved. He ate at Auntie Imani's stall almost every evening before work. One night, he didn't show up for his shift. The bank called his emergency contact. Neighbors checked his apartment. Peter was found sitting on his bed, awake, staring at the wall. He wasn't sick. He wasn't injured. He just kept saying one thing. I finally remembered. No one understood what he meant, but Peter quit his job the following week. People started whispering, not loudly, not yet, just enough to plant doubt. Daniel finally spoke to her. It was late afternoon. The crowd had thinned. Only 2 customers remained. Ma, he said quietly, are you okay? Auntie Imani paused. For the first time, she didn't answer immediately. She looked at him, really looked at him, as if weighing something heavy in her mind. Why do you ask? She said. Because, Daniel replied carefully, everyone leaves your food feeling lighter, but you look more tired every day. Her hands tightened around the serving spoon. For a moment, Daniel thought she might ask him to leave. Instead, she spoke softly. Some things are heavy to carry, even when you carry them willingly. Daniel swallowed. Do people know? He asked. She shook her head slowly. They don't ask, and I don't tell. The following morning, Market Street was busier than usual. Rumors had started to spread quietly over the past few days. Some people whispered about fainting, about sudden tears, about memories resurfacing after a meal. Daniel arrived early and noticed the tension in the air. People were looking at Auntie Imani differently now, curious, nervous, even afraid. But still, the line formed. No one wanted to admit they depended on her food. By late morning, a small crowd had gathered. One man, a teacher named Mr. Aide, confronted her openly. Auntie Imani, he said, voice trembling, what exactly do you put in this food? People have been acting strangely after eating it. Auntie Imani looked at him calmly. I feed people, she said. Nothing more. No, another voice shouted. It's more than that. My sister remembers things she hasn't thought about in years. I feel different too. What are you doing to us? The crowd murmured in agreement. One by one, they shared their experiences. Tears, relief, sudden bursts of emotion, laughter that didn't match the reason for it. Daniel stepped forward, trying to calm the growing tension. "Everyone, please. She isn't hurting anyone. She's helping." But the people were already uneasy. Fear mixed with fascination. Their love for her food was now tangled with suspicion. Auntie Imani took a deep breath. For the first time, she spoke openly. "I do not put anything into the food. I do not add magic or poison. What I serve is ordinary, simple meals, the kind you have eaten all your life. But when you eat, you bring your burdens with you. And for a little while, I carry them for you." There was silence. No one knew what to say. A woman cried out, "You mean, you feel everything we release? All our pain?" "Yes," Auntie Imani said softly. "Every sorrow, every regret, every memory I hold. I have done this for years. It is heavy. It is exhausting. But I continue because someone must." The crowd began to murmur, some with guilt, some with disbelief. One man stepped forward angrily. "You've been using us, feeding us our own pain so we depend on you. How can we trust this?" Auntie Imani shook her head gently. "I do not use you. I do not force anyone. You come because you are hungry, and when you leave lighter, it is because you have given me your burdens freely." There was silence again. Then, slowly, the townspeople began to understand. They saw the lines under her eyes, the weariness in her steps, the sadness she carried silently while feeding them. A young woman, her voice trembling, said, We never realized. We thought it was just good food. But it's you. You've been carrying all of this for us." Tears flowed freely now. People began apologizing quietly to her, some even kneeling in front of the stall, overwhelmed by gratitude and shame. Auntie Imani looked at Daniel and nodded slightly. He could see the relief, but also the weight, the unending burden that no apology could ever fully lift. The next few days were quiet. The town of Riverbridge had absorbed the revelation about Auntie Imani. People came to her stall differently now, not just for food, but with a mixture of respect, gratitude, and a newfound awareness. Daniel watched closely. He noticed that the line moved slower than before. People paused, whispered to each other, and sometimes left without ordering, as if afraid to take more from her than they could repay. One afternoon, Daniel approached her while she was preparing a pot of stew. "Ma," he said softly, "do you think people will ever understand what you do for them?" Auntie Imani paused, her hands resting on the counter. She looked at him with tired eyes, the corners shadowed from sleepless nights. "They will understand."